right, well, I want to talk about one of your latest projects. It saw you hanging from a hook naked amongst, I don't even know how many sharks, I think 30, 40 or 50 sharks. Tell me what your motivation was behind that.
Well, extreme times call for extreme measures, really. And what we decided was, in light of the shark culling that's happening in Western Australia, where they are starting to use drum lines there, they've been using drum lines and shark nets in Australia for also since the 1930s, in fact. And South Africa actually learned from them. But shark culling in Western Australia is new, and once again, because we are living in critical environmental times where our oceans are suffering from global warming, acidification, pollution, overfishing, biodiversity loss, habitat loss, we cannot afford such rash decisions anymore. We need to preserve and protect everything that there is on our planet because of the state of our world's environment. So there was a huge outcry in Western Australia when they started putting the shark nets out there, and in support of them, we as an organisation decided that we would now also turn the finger this way and say, hold on guys, you know, it's wonderful that the Western Australians are coming together and rallying against the decisions there by their Premier, who's made this decision to cull sharks, but we have shark culling happening in our own front yard, and we need to start saying this is not acceptable either. It may have been acceptable then, it is no longer acceptable. We need to look at different devices now and different solutions to what is perceived as a problem. So that is the main motivation behind it, was to say, okay, fine, how can we draw attention to this problem? And we've got to remember that, you know, in the case of sharks, people's perceptions are so poor that we need to change those perceptions. And I believe, and there is that saying, that people will only conserve what they love. They will only love what they understand, and they will only understand what they are taught. So education and awareness for me as a marine and shark conservation is a very big part of what I do, and to do it in the most compelling ways. And to win the masses' support, we need that public support to change that perception of sharks and then drive change forward on policy level. And in order to do that, you need to appeal to people in a way that means something to them. People are caught up in their lives. They escape it in social media and in pop culture. So our campaigns are always very compelling. Their messages are very powerful, and the imagery is very powerful. And in this case, the imagery speaks about the relationship between the humans and sharks, in particular my relationship with sharks. I've been diving with sharks for over 20 years now. And through showing this situation of myself on the hook, as vulnerable as a shark, naked as a shark would be on the hook. What is the difference? What is the difference to have an animal, a beautiful tiger shark, a mature tiger shark hanging on that hook, or a white shark, or a human being? Each life is as precious as the other. And that's what really the main image is saying. And saying, you know, get hooked on conservation, ban drum lines. We need to look at a new way.
Now, what kind of response did you get to that campaign?
Absolutely fantastic. You know, if I were to look at the measure of success in conservation, it's very hard often to measure that. But when it comes to campaigning, and a compelling campaign such as that, one way to measure that is obviously how it does on social media, how it does in the media in general, and it was fantastic. I was also given an opportunity to talk on national television in Australia, a live interview, so I had a voice for our sharks and South Africa's perspective as conservationists, which was fantastic as well. And I think that's what it's about, is to raise that awareness and show the world, you know, this is not what we should be doing. We have to start understanding and appreciating that when we harm other life, we harm ourselves, because in the end, everything is connected, and we do need to look at it in a different way now. So yes, it's been fantastic, and it's gone viral. It went absolutely viral and raised a lot of awareness.
Now, I've swam with sharks before, and I know many other people who have. Yes.
Great.
Were you ever afraid? I know you've done it, you've been doing it for the past 20 years. You say you've touched them, you hang them. Are you ever afraid?
Well, you know, I have to always say to people, when you are in the company of any wild animal, you need to understand that there is a small risk. It doesn't matter what wild animal it is. Right. And I always respect that. And whenever I get in the water, I'm fully aware of the fact that I am surrounded by these supreme, beautiful predators. And I respect that, and I don't go and do stupid things like try and, you know, hug the shark or feed the shark or something, you know. So I'm very mindful of that. But I also am mindful of the fact that we have to put it in perspective, and again to those stats. And I mean, I'm more afraid of getting hijacked driving home than I'm ever of getting in the water with 40 sharks around me. So have there been times where the ocean, it is their domain, it's not our domain, and we are merely guests in their domain, and to always be mindful. We can't just now suddenly, like I said to somebody, you know, just because a few people get killed by sharks annually worldwide, less than 10 people, now we go out and we kill these animals, we drown them, we shoot them like they're doing in Western Australia and in South Africa, where they're drowning in drum lines and in shark nets. I said, it's like tourists that have been, you know, killed in a country. Now you're going to go to that country and you're just going to start blasting everybody to death. For what? You can't do that. It's insanity. And really, this is insanity. And we are really lobbying very hard against the KwaZulu-Natal Sharks Board to relook at what they are doing with these shark nets and take out as many of them as possible, and also the drum lines, and start putting more money into the research that already is there. There are fantastic scientists doing incredible work. Some of these devices have already proved to be successful, and these should be replacing the shark nets and drum lines along our coastline. And there should be a time period for this. 10 years ago, they were testing devices to replace the shark nets, and then they said they were running out of money all the time. They didn't have enough money, but it's not about the money. They've got plenty of money at a budget that we're speaking about. I mean, we run our organization on less than their fuel budget for the year for their boats, for goodness sake, and we're trying to save sharks while they get 64 million rand to kill them. There's something completely wrong with that.